Here's my audience. All right, so today I will be presenting speech number 4, which is my player safety requires natural grass fields in the NFL. So imagine you're running at full speed and you go to plant your foot, and instead of making the move cleanly to change direction, your foot becomes trapped in the surface, but the rest of your body's momentum keeps moving forward. In a split second, your foot, ankle, or knee has suffered an injury that has ended your season and possibly even your career. This is like what NFL safety Ashtyn Davis said happened early in his career. While playing at MetLife Stadium, he suffered a severe season-ending Lisfranc foot injury. He explained that his cleat got trapped in the artificial turf as he attempted to make a move and left him laying there on the ground, unable to stand up. Football will always be a physical and dangerous sport. However, the governing body, the NFL, has a responsibility to remove as many unnecessary risks as possible. Specifically, when a safer and player-preferred playing surface is available, they should look into that. The NFL should mandate that every stadium uses a properly maintained natural grass field because it is associated with lower rates of certain lower body injuries. NFL players strongly prefer natural grass, and natural grass is a realistic investment that places player safety above convenience and possible profit. Today I will attempt to explain the injury concerns connected to the use of artificial turf, why the NFL players prefer natural grass fields, and how the NFL teams can realistically make the transition to grass happen. The most important reason for placing artificial turf, without a doubt, is the potential effect it has on player injuries. The possible effect is preventing these injuries. A 2024 sports health study looked at NFL injuries from the 2021 to 2022 season. It found 718 lower body injuries occurred throughout the season, including a total of 133 injuries that required surgery. With these, natural grass fields had 1.22 injuries per game, and artificial had 1.42 injuries per game. Right there, not too much of a difference. But the difference is on artificial turf, it was found that it was a higher chance of career-ending injuries that required surgery when it was on the turf. Additionally, those injuries were a lot more of the time non-contact. So it would be when some players just running and then all of a sudden they go to make a move, their foot gets stuck, and nobody even touched them. Non-contact injuries are often the most preventable. This is because they aren't from tackles, which can be very unpredictable. They are from the movement on the field itself, which can become more and more predictable as the field changes. The NFL Players Association has also found similar patterns, and their data showed that a 28% higher rate of non-contact lower body injuries happened on turf compared to on natural grass. The NFL has argued that some recent seasons show similar rates on grass and injury rates on grass and turf fields, but 1 or 2 seasons don't outweigh the larger body of research showing the increased risk on turf. When player safety is involved, the league should take the utmost precautions to ensure that the players that are putting their lives on the line every single weekend are prevented, have their injuries prevented, and should be enough to act on this issue. Now, beyond the data, the players who experience these fields week in and week out are very clear about what they prefer. Especially with the FIFA World Cup happening, their voices have become even more heard. NFL players strongly prefer natural grass fields. This is a known fact. According to the NFLPA, or the NFL Players Association, who sends out a yearly report card to all of their players, 92% of over 1,700 players prefer natural grass fields over artificial turf. In their 2026 report card, which is shown right here, grass fields received an average B+ rating, while artificial received an average of a D rating. The difference matters because it comes directly from the athletes who are running, cutting, and getting hit on these surfaces every single week. These are the people who understand how the field actually plays under actual game conditions, not just what the theory or the NFL research says. Ashtyn Davis is not the only player to speak out against artificial turf. Zach Zeeler says turf leaves them more sore after games. Zach Wilson has said grass simply just feels better to play on. That soreness may not sound too bad at first, but whenever you're an athlete competing every single week over a very long season with repeated impact, the discomfort builds up. Players aren't saying that grass prevents all the injuries, but they are saying the turf adds an unnecessary discomfort and an unnecessary risk that they actively feel and they actively notice each time they play on those fields. If the NFL claims to prioritize player safety, then player input on playing surface should matter just as much, if not more, as league data and ownership, or if not more, as league data and ownership convenience. Now, some may argue that natural grass is too expensive or too difficult to maintain, but that argument just does not hold up. Myself, working at a semi-professional soccer club that had a professional football team playing in it, our budget is this big compared to an NFL budget. We can still make it happen and play on real natural grass and host soccer, football, and another soccer team. So there's no reason why these NFL fields can't. And artificial turf is going to be more popular because it's cheaper to maintain. It allows stadiums to host more than just football. They can now host concerts, monster trucks, and many other events that they couldn't host before. And natural grass does require additional maintenance, which is an additional cost. It needs sunlight, irrigation, drainage, replacement sod, constant mowing. It can also be damaged with heavy use, especially in a stadium that hosts multiple events. But it is possible. Right here is the Arizona Cardinals Stadium. They have natural grass field. So does the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, how this works is that their field moves in and out of the stadium. Now, that only is only the case because this is an enclosed stadium. If this wasn't an enclosed stadium, it would be a lot easier to have a natural grass field on the actual field itself. Raiders owner Mark Davis has said player safety was the main reason they chose grass over artificial turf, showing that his decision is being made with the player's safety in mind. The NFL has also shown it is very possible to put even temporary playing fields into their NFL stadiums during the 2026 World Cup, where several NFL stadiums had temporarily installed natural grass because it was required by the tournament. These stadiums usually rely on turf, but were able to meet the standard when they absolutely had to. Players raised the question, many of the players who actually went to the World Cup games at the stadiums that they played at raised the question, if grass can be installed for soccer players, why not for the NFL players who actually the stadium was made for? Yes, it costs more, but the NFL and franchises are worth billions of dollars. A single serious injury can cost a team far more than field maintenance, both in player careers and possibly team success. While it may be cheaper and easier options, convenience should not come before player safety. The NFL should require all stadiums to transition to properly maintain natural grass fields. The research shows higher injury rates with artificial turf. On top of that, the players themselves prefer grass and consistently report turf is harder on their bodies. There have been real world examples that, like the Cardinals or the Raiders and even the World Cup, that conversions can happen and can happen effectively in these football stadiums. I encourage fans to support players calling for safer fields and to push their NFL franchise to make this change to support our players. The NFL asks players to risk their bodies every single week. The least they can do is give them the safest field possible to play on.